Hello everybody, this is Kyle out of course for Draftradio, bringing you a Dragons of Tarkir Crack-a-Pack series. Consider this your booster shot of Tarkir madness. We have a very interesting pack. We have a Narset Transcendent, we have a Youthful Scholar, an Ambuscade Shaman, Tail Slash, Epic Confrontation, Draconic Roar, a doozy of a first pack. And it's going to be an interesting one, because we're not going to take the Planeswalker. Now, if I was doing this on the channel, and I was having fun, and I wanted to give you guys an interesting video, then yes, absolutely, I would take Narset if this was a real draft, where I wasn't playing for anything more. Like, if I'm at an FNM and I see Narset Transcendent, heck yeah, I'm picking up this card. Card is awesome. Card is great. I want one in my collection. That's all well and good. But assuming that I'm at the Pro Tour, or assuming that I'm like in a GP and I'm trying to compete, which I am wont to do sometimes, or apt to do sometimes, I guess, is a more applicable use of that term. I'm not going to take Narset Transcendent. In all honesty, she doesn't really do that much. The turn that you lay her down, like assuming you curve Narset out on turn 4, the best you can do is look at the top card of your library. If it's a non-creature card, great, you put it in your hand. Otherwise, you pretty much just tick her up to 7, and that's great. That's awesome. But you're not going to be able to use the rebound ability on turn 4 because you've spent the turn playing her. So your best course of action is just to gain something. She locks you into 2 colors right off the bat. 2 colors which are relatively weak in this block. And I'll be honest, 2 colors that I'm not fond of playing, and even more importantly, like 2 colors that I'm not even sure I'm in yet. Assuming that we're in a pack 1 pick 1 situation and that I'm playing for something, you know, more than just an FNM. I don't want to lock myself into 2 colors. I don't want a gold card. This isn't Sorin's Solemn Visitor, where Sorin just pretty much wins the game by himself. Narset has at least 3 turns. You have till turn 7 to deal with either kill your opponent or like tick down Narset in order for your opponent to actually do something. And even if your opponent does get that ultimate off, sometimes if you just have better creatures than they do, here's looking at you, creatures that have exploit, or creatures that are just super huge and have dash, or, you know, any of the 6 mana flying dragons in this set, you're really not even that worried about the emblem, in all honesty. If you're already ahead on board, it's great. I mean, like, it's awkward in board parity, but realistically, this is a card that's amazing for constructed and doesn't exactly quite transfer over into the limited environment. Now, that being said, we have some amazing cards for the limited environment. Ambuscade Shaman is one of them. It's a card that I like a lot. I played it very well in the pre-release. It was oftentimes the best card of my deck. You know, other than like Thunderbreak Regent, which is, you know, saying a lot in sealed. But granted, that's a sealed environment. I haven't had a chance to play him in draft. As a pack 1 pick 1, he certainly is a cool card to take because he encourages you to sort of draft along that archetype. If you want to try and force that, he's a pick. But I don't think he's the best pick here, nor do I think Epic Confrontation is the best pick here. Although I will say I really like green, and I really like red in this set. I think the 3 best cards in this pack are Youthful Scholar, Tail Slash, and Draconic Roar. Now, Epic Confrontation, there's no guarantee that your opponent, you're actually going to be able to kill the creature that you're going to kill it with. It's sorcery speed. You know, you're not actually getting that bonus. I like it a little bit better than I liked Bear Punch, in that you get that bonus before, like it's not dependent on Ferocious in order to trigger, but that sorcery speed still makes it just a little bit awkward. Whereas Youthful Scholar, an amazingly efficient creature, even by itself, if you're playing that blue-white control deck, where you just want a good chump blocker, or really if you're playing the exploit deck, the Youthful Scholar is amazing. But I don't think he's better than Tail Slash. I don't think he's better than Draconic Roar. I really want instant speed removal spells in this set. This set is full of amazing cards, but instant speed removal is what differentiates it from Khans of Tarkir. There's a lot of cheap spot removal and a lot of good spot removal. And Draconic Roar is among the best of the spot removal. It's 1 mana cheaper than Tail Slash, and on top of that, it retains that instant speed. You have additional upside in that sometimes you're going to be able to damage your opponent. Maybe not often, but occasionally you will. And on top of all of that, I don't need a creature to make it work. I know the downside of Tail Slash doesn't come up very often, but there will be times in games where my creature has low power and can't take on my opponent's, my opponent's Summit Prowler, or, my opponent's Silmulgrim Butcher, or any other creature that has 3 toughness. I'm drawing a blank on creatures that have 3 toughness, guys. You'll have to forgive me for that. So if I was in this pack playing competitively, I'm taking Draconic Roar all the way. I know that was a long Pack 1, Pick 1 talk, but I think it's the one to justify. I think a lot of people would be like, oh man, if I'm in a professional event, definitely take Narset. I disagree. I very much disagree. I think Draconic Roar is the best card in the pack. Strictly followed after that by Tail Slash, and then probably by Epic Confrontation, and then by Youthful Scholar. I think Narset gets like a solid 5th, maybe 6th place mention in this pack, which is insane. This pack is incredible. Now, remember folks, for those of you that have not watched the Pack 1, Pick 1 videos, we're just going to be treating this like a first pick. So we're going to be going to a whole completely new pack, whole new fresh set of eyes. And what do we have for us? We have a Living Lore. We have a Kolgon Forerunners. We have an Owijitai Interceptor. We have a Kolgon Skirmisher, Glade Watcher. I really like Glade Watcher. I also really like Owijitai Summons. So, after I just got through saying that blue and white are probably 2 of the weaker colors of the format, we get 2 of the stronger commons in the format, both of which belong to one of the weaker colors. Now, let's think about this. Clearly, the two best cards in the pack, at least the ones that stand out to me, are Owijitai Interceptor and, of course, Owijitai Summons. Both of them put a high amount of power onto the board. It flies. My only shtick is that I actually think Owijitai Summons is better. Yes, it's 1 more mana. Yes, it's harder to cast. Yes, you don't exactly have that, like, little illusion, shuffle, shell game thing of the Megamorph going on. But being able to put 2 power on the turn, 2 power and toughness on the turn that you play it, flying in the air, and then follow that up with an additional 2 power and 2 toughness. You're going to trigger Rebound. You're going to trigger Prowess. If you have any actual spells that have non-creature applications on top of that, here's looking at you, a Owijitai Student that gives you 2 life every time you gain a non-creature spell. You've got additional moves there. It's not that much slower than Owijitai's Interceptor, and because it gives you more bodies, so let's say you are, from behind and you want to have more blockers, Owijitai's Summons is great. Lets you chump block 1 turn, lets you chump block another turn, draw your bomb, or maybe it just lets you put that power in the air so you can just get them. It's really, really important to have cards like that, although I think this one is incredibly close between Owijitai's Interceptor and Owijitai's Summons. Living Lore, as a sidebar, is a card that I'm really excited to try. I don't know how good it's going to be just yet. It sounds really cool. Because whenever it does combat damage, you can sacrifice it. So sometimes you're just gonna exile a Sarkhan's Rage, and this thing's just gonna be a 4-mana 5/5, and you're just gonna want to beat with it. And then sometimes you'd be like, oh man, I need to kill my opponent, but he has a ton of blockers, and then you'll swing Living Lore into their blocker, and then you'll recast the Sarkhan's Rage for free, and then dome them in the face for 5 or something along those lines. I'm also thinking that this will be really good with maybe in Constructed, when you've got some super big stuff that way, but I'm not sure how I feel about it as a limited card yet. It's certainly not a first pick, but it is an interesting card. Card I wanted to mention. Kolgon Forerunners can be very good. It can also be very bad. It's one of those cards I don't necessarily like, simply because of how swingy it is, either in your favor or your opponent's favor. Worst comes to worst, this is like a 0/3, or a 1/3 by itself. I guess it can't really be a 0/3. So a 1/3 by itself, but a 1/3 with Trample for 3 mana, I'm not feeling that too much. Certainly not when there's an Owijitai Interceptor and an Owijitai Summons in the set, in the pack. So definitely taking the Summons there. We're moving on to this one. Ooh, boy. Well, speaking of Student of Owijitai, he's right there, folks. And another great pack. Well, let's start this thing off. We have Ukud? Okrud. I'm just going to call him the Okrud Cobra. I feel like that's applicable whenever you see this guy. I mean, a 2/5 with Death Touch is pretty sweet. You have a Blood Chin Rager, who looks a lot like Danny Trejo, now that I think about it. A Machete, yeah. Oh, yeah, he does. Yep, that's Danny Trejo. All right, cool. For those of you who are interested in the Warrior sub-theme, we also have a Coat with Venom, probably one of the best combat tricks in the set. Luis Scott Vargas actually ranked this in the top 10 commons of the set. Good to know, good to remember. Forever make your opponent terrified of the fact that you have 1 black mana open. There's a Tail Slash, but I think the obvious first pick here is Slumberger's Command. Now, remember when we were talking about Narset, how it puts us into 2 colors, but it doesn't really win us games. Slumberger's Command wins us games. This tempo swing is absolutely nuts. I mean, there's nothing quite like countering your opponent's best spell and then bouncing their creature or killing their creature, or God forbid your opponent actually does get Narset so close that you're like, oh no, what am I ever going to do? Kill your creature and then kill the random Narset that you managed to draft. Or more likely, bounce the dragon token and then kill Sarkhan Unbound. As Unbroken. Kill Sarkhan Unbroken. I'm thinking of Unbowed, Unbent, Unbroken, which is the Tarly words from Game of Thrones. But in any case, Slimmerger's Command is awesome. Just nothing but straight value here. 5 mana, a little salty, 2 colors, yeah, but man oh man, like if this resolves, you're going to have a hard time losing. It doesn't outright win you the game, I should say. It's not like a total bomb. It's not like a Tarko where you just drop it and they just have to answer a Tarko or they're dead, generally. But it's one of those things that, like, being able to peg their best guy, bounce whatever guy that's left back to their hand, or like counter a spell and then kill a guy, or counter a spell and bounce a guy, or kill a guy, counter a spell. It's so good. It's like the Swiss Army knife of doom. It's awesome. It's definitely worth your first pick. I will say, if we have to do a second pick here, I'm very much torn between either Ukud Cobra or Tail Slash. Tail Slash is awesome. I talked about it in our first pack. Phenomenal removal spell, instant speed, love it. It's a worse reprint of Fall of the Hammer for those of you that played a lot of Theros Limited like I did. But I will say Ukud Cobra is insane. I mean, the fact that it pretty much just stops any ground-based assault that's coming at you can buy you a lot of the time that you need. Again, not an outright bomb, but I actually think I would take the Ukud Cobra here as maybe a potential pick. Like if Slimmerger's Command was assuming Slimmerger's Command's a crappy rare like Living Lore that I don't necessarily want a first pick, I think I'm going to go Cobra for the second pick. Although I can see any reasoning for taking Bloodchin Rager. I can see reasoning for taking Tail Slash. Coat with Venom over anything else in this pack is a little awkward. I guess if you wanted to take Elusive Spellfist and be really try-hardy for the Ouija-Tai sort of Jeskai spam my cheap spells deck, I mean, that's fine too, but I definitely think Slimmerger's Command is the first pick here, and then if that's not in the pack, we're going for the Cobra, the Crud Cobra. You know how we do. Samuel L. Jackson has had it with these mother-trucking snakes on this mother-trucking plane. Plane, spelled P-L-A-N-E. Ha! Planeswalker jokes. Got him. And now another first pick. Let's take a look at this bad boy. Our rare is Zurgo, the Bell Striker. Zurgo needs to hit the gym because it looks like old Zurgo was super swole, taking his protein supplements, and this Zurgo is puny. What you doing, Zurgo? You strike that bell. You do you, son. Also, do some bicep reps or something. You're looking weak. In any case, Zurgo's lack of muscle mass aside, we got some good cards in here. There's a Cunning Breeze Dancer. There's a Seismic Rupture. That's just a cool name to say, Seismic Rupture. Dun, dun, dun. We also have an Anticipate. There's a Shambling Goblin for all of you exploit fiends out there, and an Epic Confrontation. Ooh, I like it. We're not going to take Zurgo as a pack one, pick one. I keep wanting to say first pick, first pack, which is a little bit longer. Admittedly still true, but a little bit longer. I like, brevity is the soul of wit, to quote famous people. So I'm thinking for us, the pick is going to be between the Seismic Rupture, the Cunning Breeze Dancer, or the Epic Confrontation. There's a Sabertooth Outrider card I like a lot, which a faithful viewer happened to point out costs 4 and not 3 mana. I accidentally resolved one on turn 3 during one of the recordings, and whew, boy do I have Dragon Egg on my face. It's certainly a great card, and Shambling Goblin is awesome. I called it Festering Goblin, I know I did. I love it. It's a little better than Festering Goblin, simply because there's not going to be that awkward rules text interaction where, sometimes you have to give your own guy -1/-1. But, for all intents and purposes, he's a Festering Goblin. Of a different kind. And Anticipate is a fantastic draw spell. But let's talk a little bit about some of these cards. Cunning Breeze Dancer is a card that can end the game quite quickly. I don't like it as much as I like Pristine Skywise. I think Pristine Skywise does a better job of protecting itself. Being able to turn any instant or any sorcery into a protection spell, or as Louis Scott Vargas talked about it, being able to use sorceries as pseudo-vigilance is pretty sweet. Whereas Seismic Rupture just absolutely drops a total bomb on the board. There's no board wipe. The End Hostilities is not here. You will not find it in this new draft format, and so one must take their board wipes where one can find them, and Seismic Rupture, certainly a good board wipe spell. Epic Confrontation, also a great spell as well. Well, we talked about it in the first pack. We also talked about it earlier. I think it was in pack 3, yeah? Pack 3? No, it was in pack 2. No, still not pack 2. Apparently, I'm just completely losing my mind. We didn't talk about this an additional time, but we're talking about it now. That's important. But Epic Confrontation, a fine removal spell, certainly. This is actually kind of tough. I will say I would actually rank Seismic Rupture, Cunning Breeze Dancer, and Epic Confrontation around the same place in terms of pick order. I think they're both around like a 3.5-ish, 3-ish range out of 5. That being said, I am most inclined, I think, to take Epic Confrontation for a number of reasons. Cunning Breeze Dancer, not an actual like total bomb. Like, you are going to get some real big swings in with it, but like it doesn't outright end the game. It forces you into 2 colors, and I'll be honest, a 6-mana 4/4 is just a little bit uninspiring to me. And I'm not going to take Seismic Rupture either, because I'll be honest, yes, it's board wipe, but it also hurts my guys. Maybe I'm playing the kind of deck that doesn't want to play Seismic Rupture, that like if I play Seismic Rupture and I'm in a position where it does as much good for me as it does my opponent, I'll probably lose. And I'll be honest, Epic Confrontation, a little bit cheaper, a little bit guaranteed removal. Also, the creatures without flying bit is actually kind of important. I know that there are tons of dragons, like so that wouldn't even matter anyway, but there's also tons of stuff like the 3-mana Dash Imp that the Kolgon has, or like our Ouijatai summons, or our Ouijatai Interceptor. You know, there's Abzan Sky Captain from Fate Reforged is a 2-mana, is a 2 toughness flyer. There's a lot of stuff that this doesn't actually hurt, and that worries me just a little bit. I would rather have Epic Confrontation removal that I know is going to be really good, and then maybe actually wheel a playable out of this pack, like Pinion Feast, which is a card that's impressed me, than take a card that's like maybe going to be good against me, maybe not, but maybe not even hit the things that I want to hit and kill. I would much rather have Epic Confrontation. I'm a shotgun man. I like to point, shoot, and destroy what's ever in front of me. So we're definitely taking Epic Confrontation here. I think this was a little tougher than the previous 3 packs by a long shot. And honestly, folks, if any of you took Seismic Rupture or Cunning Breeze Dancer or Anticipate, or you know what, heck, if you took Zurgo or even Shambling Goblin and you felt comfortable in that, that's all good. But I definitely think Epic Confrontation is the best card here. It's cheapest. It kills exactly what you want it to kill, like 90% of the time. It makes your guy bigger before you do it. And although it doesn't really have any gameplay effects, the art is sick. Nothing like watching Sirak punch the crap out of a dragon. I mean, that is an Epic Confrontation if I've ever seen one. Alright, folks, we're going to do a quick recap. In Pack 1, Pick 1 the first. We had a little bit of an internal debate and external discussion with you about why we should not take Narset Transcendent, but why we should take the Draconic Roar, one of the best removal spells in the format, and perfect spot removal. Plus, it's foil, a little shiny. Not that it really matters, but it's shiny, and I like shiny things. But mostly, it's good, it kills what we want, and it does it at instant speed for very little cost, with potential upside. Nothing wrong with Draconic Roar there. In our second pack, we decided to take Ouijatai Summons, hoping to spread the love to 2 different creatures, and thus establish both a board state and a possible attacking and blocking position over the course of 2 turns, and maybe even triggering some rebound interaction and some prowess interaction from Fate Reforged. You know, little upside, but remember, it's kind of important to remember. Although, again, folks, you're certainly justified in taking Ouijatai's Interceptor. Believe me, I get it. But man, Ouijatai Summons, awesome card. In our third pack, we took the amazing utility Swiss Army Knife Doom Silumgar's Command. Look at that happy salamander. And you will be happy too, folks, if you're able to bounce and kill a guy, or counter a spell and kill a guy, or bounce and counter a spell. It's awesome. And if you actually do get to live in Magical Christmas Land, where you blow up a creature and blow up a Planeswalker on the same turn, congratulations. Welcome to Christmas. If you feel something cold, that's the snowflakes and your opponent's dreams. Silumgar's Command, awesome card, but if that wasn't in the pack, we would have gone with Ukud Cobra. or Oh Crud Cobra. I like that title a lot better. And for our fourth and final and the most difficult pack, we had a tough three-way tie between Seismic Rupture, Cunning Breeze Dancer, and Epic Confrontation, and we decided on the aptly named Epic Confrontation that does exactly what we want, when we want to do it, and helps our creatures survive, and might even give us a possible wheel, plus it puts us in just one of the best colors in the set, one of the deepest colors in the set, which is green. Nothing wrong about that, but again, a difficult pack. If you picked Cunning Breeze Dancer, if you picked Seismic Rupture, good on you. But I definitely think that Epic Confrontation, best card, and worthy of a first pick in the first pack. Well, folks, I am Kyle Ott for Draft Radio. Thank you so much for joining me, and I certainly do appreciate that you come here to Draft Radio for all of your Magic-based needs. Do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. You never have to do it in that order, but we certainly appreciate when you do it. Helps make the channel that much better, and I'll be honest, I love every single subscriber. We have 40 now. We finally hit 40. It's a huge milestone for us. I know it doesn't sound super huge, but man, it feels pretty good to say that we have the big 4-0. So almost halfway to 100. That's how I'm choosing to view it. In any case, folks, thank you so much for joining us. Again, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. We certainly love it. If you have any thoughts or feedback on the show, feel free to give them. I will definitely respond to you. I check the channel's email, which is draftradio@gmail.com. I respond to the comments, and I'll be honest, I really do value your feedback. Until next time, I am Kyle Ott for Draft Radio, signing off. Have a good one.